check out our new sponsor, the Health Blaze. All the information is in the description. Use the promo code above. Goodfellow Unboxing at 18% off of all their natural products, from deodorant, pomade, toothpaste, and much, much more. And they have additional discounts on their website as well. That's thehealthblaze.com. Starting December 20th. That promo code is good for 18% off. We go. What's going on? Richard Commey say, no way Jose and no way Lomachenko is the best fighter in the world. He said Terrence Crawford, Deontay Wilder, Errol Spence, Canelo Alvarez are all better than Vasyl Lomachenko, and said Lomachenko is a product of television network and promoter push, and that's pretty much why he's considered the A-side in most of his fights. But we back. Goodfellow Sports TV in the building. I'll link that article in the description. You want to go ahead and read it by yourself. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, bell icon button, share the video. And it's a lot of talk that Lomachenko, I don't know where he said it at today. He said that he's the pound for pound #1 fighter. Apparently he said, well, I remember him, he said Terrence Crawford was, but now he's feeling himself. And obviously he got a PR person trying to tell him these things to try to hype him up. And Richard Commey is right. They put a lot of force behind Vasyl Lomachenko that they don't put around a few other guys on this list. I don't even believe Errol Spence get to push that Lomachenko get. I don't believe Deontay get to push that Lomachenko get. I don't get Crawford get to push that Lomachenko get. The only one that get that type of push is Canelo Alvarez. And he right. I think all of them is better than Lomachenko. And people were arguing with me today in the thread that I was crazy that Lomachenko wasn't better than Errol Spence. And I said, well, pretty much, I don't think Errol Spence would lose to the caliber of fighter of Orlando Salido. And people want to say, well, he hit Salido, hit him in his nuts, and they want to make all these excuses. Nah, man, at the end of the day, he took the fight. And they want to come up with the weight excuses. Lomachenko was too arrogant. You know, he was very, very arrogant when it came to that fight. You know, he didn't ask Salido to take he didn't make him sign a rehydration clause and do a same-day morning weigh-in. He thought he was about to roll through Salido because he had several losses. His arrogance got him. And when you really look at it, Lomachenko is a tremendous fighter. He's definitely a top 10 pound-for-pound fighter. But when you look at it, like Richard Commey said, he said Wilder was going to Russia to fight Alexander Povetkin. He was in Nottingham on the way to Russia when he heard the news of Povetkin failed drug test. He said Canelo was the B-side versus Mayweather. Errol went over and took the belt from Errol went over there and took the belt from Kell Brook, and Terrence Crawford went over to Ricky Burns' hometown when he was a nobody. When Adrian Broner refused to go over there and unify Ricky Burns, Terrence Crawford stepped up and did that. And really was Lomachenko been put in a position where he been the underdog. I'm not sure. He might have been the underdog versus Gary Russell. I can't remember, but I picked him to beat Gary Russell. He did go over to Showtime, so at the end of the day, he did go to Showtime. I think him and Gary Russell fought somewhere in L.A., maybe the StubHub Center. So, you know, he did go in enemy territory and get a split decision, which should have been a unanimous decision. But in the majority of his fights, he's been the overwhelming favorite. You know, it ain't been close. Nicholas Walters was sat on the bench for a year and starved out because he wanted more money to fight Lomachenko. He fought Miguel Moraga coming off a loss to Oscar Valdez. He fought Rigondeaux to get moving up 2 weight classes. He beat Jorge Linares, who's been stopped more times than the stop sign, than the car to stop sign. You know what I'm saying? You know, his resume in a short period of time is one of the best, just name recognition wise in the sport of boxing, you know, and what he done. But just looking, him struggling with Linares, him losing to Salido, if it was 6 years ago, 2 years ago, 33 years ago, we can't expunge that off his record and act like it didn't happen because all of a sudden people want to play the victim role, or he want to play the victim role because of the weight and getting hit in the nuts. It's part of the game. I don't hear people complaining about Joseph Abeko taking 10,000 nut shots versus Abner Mares. Didn't hear shit about that. You know? You know what I'm saying? I hear people saying, oh, you know, Loma fought a fucking super bantamweight in Rigondeaux. He didn't compromise with him. He needed all the advantage. Ain't nobody talk about him, his face being popped up by Jose Pedraza. Like I said, he's a terrific fighter. You don't get me wrong. But in my opinion, I agree with Richard Commey. Is that those guys are better fighters than Lomachenko. And Lomachenko just don't have nobody down there that nobody respects. Size, power, speed. He don't have an adversary. When people look at Errol Spence, he got an adversary in Terrence Crawford and Sean Porter and Keith Thurman and Manny Pacquiao and potentially Floyd Mayweather. He has adversaries. He go up J-Rock, Harrison, maybe not Charlo because they stable mates, Jared Hurd. He got adversaries. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, if you put him in a vacuum, if you want to say Lomachenko better than Errol Spence, I'm not going to argue with you, man. Lomachenko is an amazing fighter. I don't think he head, shoulder, knees, and toes above Errol Spence. You want to say his resume better than Errol Spence? We'll see how Errol Spence handles Sean Porter. I'm open-minded to it. But to say he better than the other, I don't care what they say about Deontay Wilder. Oh, he's sloppy, he this, he that. One thing I know, turn your power out. And the power company ain't turning it back on. One thing I know, he won three of the hardest punchers in the world. Is Wilder, Inoue, and Gervonta Tank Davis. I could be missing somebody here and there. But them, three of the hardest punchers in the world. Canelo got the best resume going in boxing out of the guys 30 and under. Terrence Crawford, it speaks for itself. Terrence Crawford is a phenomenal fighter. And people will probably try to shade Richard Commey like he hating on Lomachenko, but Lomachenko is now, buying into the hype, saying that he number one. You supposed to feel like you number one. If you don't feel like you the best at your craft, privately, and he just being vocal and and just opening up, then if you don't believe it, who gonna believe it? Real talk. You can't knock somebody and criticize somebody for saying they the best, especially what he's accomplished through the amateur system, what he accomplished in the World Series of Boxing, and what he's accomplished in a short period of time as a professional fighter with top rank. And people going to sit here and they going to try to go in on him and stuff of that nature or try to hate on him and not be open-minded. He is one of the 5 or 6, 7 best fighters in the world. There's no doubt about it. His style might be amateurish. You know what? But, hey, he can fight. The guys that he need to fight, and Gervonta Tank Davis, they need to step up, and if they can beat him and not age him out, but that's just what the game is. Especially with Floyd Mayweather, it's about marinating, it's about aging, and beating the guy when it best suits you. But I know the Deontay Wilder thing gonna get a lot of flack, but look at Deontay Wilder. He making moves. And they can fight Fury again, he can fight Ortiz again. He just knocked out Dominic Brazil, one of the one-punch knockouts of the year, him and Inoue. So, in my opinion, it ain't me being no Wilder fanboy and no shit like that. I just prefer Wilder. Put them in the ring together and see who wins then. Put them in the ring together and see who get knocked the fuck out. Matter of fact, you want to upgrade, put Usyk in the ring again. Him. Just call that the big Lomachenko and see what happened to him. He going to sleep as of right now. And that's just my personal opinion. But definitely, you talk a pound for pound, you don't rate heavyweights. The reason you don't rank heavyweights is pound for pound list. It was taught to me that the pound for pound list was a way for smaller fighters under heavyweight to compete with heavyweight. Because once upon a time, the heavyweight division, was, it was supreme, if you believe it or not, for people that's younger. And the lower level fighters, couldn't get no recognition. The way you see the welterweights, the way you see the junior middleweights on TV, the way you see the middleweights like Canelo on TV, the way you're going to see Beterbiev, Gosvick, Bivol, Kovalev, and some of the light heavyweights, Marcus Brown, John Pascal, the way you seen them on TV, fights like Adam Kanauki and Areola, fights like Vladimir Klitschko and Anthony Joshua, fights like Fury, way better than Fury and Wilder, but fights like that was a regular basis in the heavyweight division. You know what I'm saying? You had Michael Moore, George Foreman, Riddick Bowe, Holyfield. You had Holyfield, Lennox. You had just regular fights like that. Gary Cooney, Larry Holmes. Frazier taking on George Foreman. You had electric fights on a on a damn near weekly basis in the heavyweight division. It was so dominant that it was hard for the other guys to get on. You had Norton, Shavers. You had really, really good fighters in the division. And it was a hotbed for great fights. You had Tua. You just had really, really good heavyweights, and they dominated the airwaves. People want to see other guys get hurt. You know what I'm saying? They want to see knockouts. Galata cheating ass. You just had a really great product, and it was hard for other guys to get recognition. Now, you see the corner starting to get turned, when Roy Jones came up on the scene, and Roy Jones was so electric that, you know, at the end of the day, that was kind of the downfall of the heavyweight division that we know it now. And that when Roy Jones took over and the pound for pound list really skyrocketed under Roy Jones, he took boxing like commercial. He was on the weigh-in show when I think Pops was selling his memorabilia and he was trying to get it back. You know, he was everywhere, rap videos, and Roy Jones was probably the first really commercial pound for pound star. You know, obviously we don't rank the heavyweights like Ali, but he really took it to another level. He had a different swag and a different style that nobody had, and that's why I forever love Roy Jones. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of the end. That was kind of the beginning and the end for heavyweight. And the last great heavyweight fight that I remember on that level was Vitaly Klitschko and Lennox Lewis. And go watch that fight. That was like what 01, 02 or something like that. That was the really last great fight before Joshua and Vladimir Klitschko. But on a regular basis, you got those type of fights. So it was hard for guys that was in that class like Lomachenko. It was hard for them to be a main event back in the day. You know, it was hard. They was all backing up the first team. You know what I'm saying? Which was the heavyweights. It was hard, you know, and you have very special fighters in Hagler, Duran, Leonard. So they was the exception because they were really good, exciting fighters. You know, and today, now the heavyweight's not so dominant. You know, they just not starting to kind of breathe life back into that division. And now you can get Lomachenko fight Moraga as main events. He's never been the main event back in the day. Never. Crawford and some of the shit, Inges, never. Errol Spence, Sean Porter, never. They would have been backing up somebody. They would have been co-featuring. They might have been opening the card. A lot of them dudes may not have been title holders, you know, not until a little bit later in their career. Or they might have had a few L's, but that was just the competition level back then. So, you know, now how you see it is like, how can I put it? Every dog has his day, and now it's the lower weight class divisions that's really spearheading boxing. And since that really happened, mixed with taking boxing to pay-per-view and premium network television, you see the turn of boxing and the tides is turning. Isn't financially it's really good, but really viewership wise and popularity is dying because of the heavyweight division, the television situation. But like I said before, to close it out, I'm not knocking Lomachenko. You know what I'm saying? If you believe he's the best fighter in the world, man, it's your opinion. I ain't here to change it. But my opinion, I agree with Richard Commey. He ain't better than Lomachenko, but he gonna have an opportunity. He get rid of Teofimo Lopez, the alleged date they on is December 14th, and he able to get rid of, then Lomachenko probably early next year. Then he can talk his shit, but you gotta back it up. But I don't think he disrespected him, but I don't think it's a far-fetched that I think Errol Spence and I think Deontay Wilder and Terrence Crawford and Canelo are better fighters than him. It ain't like he named off a long list like he was DMX, Letitia, Tanya, Brittany, Brianna. No, he didn't name off like 50 fighters. Like all those fighters is to be respected. But a lot of these wishy-washy Elmer Glue fans got a problem because of the melanin in three of these fighters' skin that they better than him. You know, that's what they always want to make it. When it boiled down, they wanted to make it about race. You know what I'm saying? In point blank period, I think all four is better than him. But then again, hey, he had a small sample size. He's still going. But I think we've seen the best of Lomachenko physically wise. But now he got to play the game on intellectual, mental level. He going to be playing chess and everybody going to be playing checkers. And I think, he just need the right opponent to cross him over into legendary professional Hall of Fame status. And, and I think Tank could be that opponent. And you got a couple other young fighters that may eventually be that opponent for him. But, by the International Boxing Hall of Fame standard, he probably is already a Hall of Famer, I would say. But we'll see. They're going to try to get him undisputed. And then if you hate Lomachenko, then you need to be pulling for Richard Commey because he's he probably going to be the last resistance to stop him because Teofimo Lopez ain't got a fucking chance versus an animal like Lomachenko. And I said that from day one. And to this day, I said that, man. So people say, I know you don't like Lomachenko. No, I like Lomachenko as a fighter. I just don't like some of the fans, You know, they just be overdoing it. That's every damn near fighter fan base today. But hey, it's Goodfellas Sports TV. Appreciate the love, support. Don't forget, we on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Reach out to the email if you have business, question, inquiry, sponsorship, video requests. And don't forget to check out our sponsor, The Hellblaze, at thehellblaze.com. Promo code Goodfella1Boxing. Get you 18% off the 100% all natural products. Lotion soaps, foot soaks, bath bombs, deodorant, toothpaste, hair pomade, much, much more. Website, promo code in the description. All the links in the description, article link, my social media. If you need to get in touch with me, you want to make a donation, the links in the description. Best way to donate is share the videos. And yeah, let me know what you think in the comment section about Richard Commey comments. I agree with him. I think the 4 is better than him, but it's all subjective, and there's no need to get bent out of shape. You know, it's all opinionated, you know, in this pound for pound mythical list. One time.